time now to review headlines of today's newspapers. And we'll start with Sheito with this day.
Not with Sheito, with this day, yeah.
This day, the newspaper of record.
Yes.
Practically every newspaper today, of course, is leading with the Edo elections. And this day has as its lead headline, 2.2 million voters to decide Ighodalo, Okpebholo, Akpata, others' fate today. I'm still in the race. LP candidate declares in one of the very many riders that are supporting the lead headline. APC purported court ruling against Okpebholo false. Allow peace, civility to reign, Tinubu tells stakeholders. Edo Rec, being Wike's cousin, has nothing to do with my role. Police order restriction of vehicular movement. DHQ, which is the defense headquarters, were in Edo to thwart activities of subversive elements. All these stories are in page 5 of today's newspaper, This Day on Saturday. And I like the fact that This Day, here is publishing the spread of the voters in all the three constituencies in Edo State. Edo South has a total number of 1,526,717 voters across all the local government areas there, which is the largest, by the way. That's Edo South, followed by Edo North with 620,412 voters. And then Edo Central has a total of 443,474 registered voters, according to what INEC has released. How many of these people will come out of the 2.2 million registered voters in total is what we're waiting for, given the situation that we have in Edo at the moment. It's raining in some parts of the state. Election has commenced in some areas, while in other parts, it's still a waiting game, waiting for INEC to be ready, waiting for INEC officials and the voting materials to be brought down to where they are. But of course, it will be a fairly long day, and we will see how it pans out. Three frontrunners, PDP, APC, and Labour Party.
About some other stories.
Of course, there are other stories, and I think that those two other stories on the cover of This Day today are quite important. One is from the president, which is on the window, and of course, again, page 5 of today's paper. Tinubu, I am not in office for personal gains, says his government focused on food, energy security, long-term economic stability. Berates past administrations for neglecting oil-producing communities, education sector, meets former presiding officers of the National Assembly. And on page 6, the other story is on Borno flood. Kashim Imam begins distribution of cooked meals to victims. Cooked meals.
I'm
not sure if it
was here on the morning show that we were talking about. I think it was when we were interviewing, talking about why they only distribute rice. And we're talking about that. So how would they cook it? If they have been displaced, they don't have access to their stoves or to their gas cookers.
Was it on Sunday? Well,
yes, I think it was last week, Sunday or Saturday.
So that,
maybe they heard us, and now they're cooking the meals.
Exactly, because if there's flooding, too much water, you've been displaced.
The last thing you're thinking about is how to boil the rice.
Exactly. And when you boil the rice, won't you eat it with something?
Yeah, with some stew, With
some stew and some chicken or meat or something.
Something on the side, some protein.
They deserve it, didn't they? So now this will be a good development, given what is happening now in Borno State. And I think it was all over social media yesterday that even the sons of the president, Sheyi and Yinka, with the Nuela Foundation, were also in Maiduguri, Borno State, to also add to what other well-meaning Nigerians are doing to give food items, including medications, anti-malaria drugs and so on. I thought that was a brilliant idea, to show concern, to show, empathy and support to the people who are in dire straits. Their father, the president, by the way, I said, on account of what is happening in Borno, I was chef going to hunger in America and in New York, and let the vice president represent me and represent Nigeria there. A lot of people have commended that, because
that was a fantastic move for sure.
Absolutely. Do we have any other paper to look at? We have images, live images where the candidate of the Labour Party, Olumide Akpata, seems to be ready. He's been accredited and is about to cast his own ballot. I'm sure that we'll soon be joining our correspondent who is right there live with him to give us updates as to what the impressions of this candidate is. You can see him waving at his supporters.
Which reminds me very fondly of his ad that has played here. I was talking about it while we were off air.
It's not a dancing moment today.
Definitely not.
It is to vote. And I'm sure that he will most likely grant an interview to the media that are there once it's done voting. He's one of the 3 leading candidates, and this should be Benin City because Olumide Akpata is from Edo Central.
All right, then.
We'll see how that goes.
Well, so, while we're still waiting, for that to happen, let's take a look at more newspapers. The Saturday Vanguard. If you have the Saturday Vanguard.
Yes, Saturday Vanguard here. Again, it's on Edo Guba, who succeeds Obaseki, Ighodalo, Akpata, Okpebholo, in Battle Royale. Our election will be won and lost. That's Vanguard there for you. And then the picture of the incumbent governor, to those of the 3 other candidates. And below that lead headline in today's Vanguard, do or die race. All eyes on INEC. Police.
Really, all eyes on INEC.
All eyes on INEC and the police.
Just rightfully talking to our correspondents earlier, looking at this particular one, we're confident that the voting is going to start. But when we look at the farther areas, like where Ovieteme is, where they haven't even received their, their voting materials, it really makes you worry and wonder if there's going to be an extension, for those kind of places. But
I think what the law says is that once you have voters line up for accreditation and voting, until the last person casts his ballot, you cannot leave the place. Okay, so the images we're now seeing will be where Ovieteme is, isn't it? And that's the candidate of the PDP, Aswed Ighodalo, with his wife
right there, Ifeyinwa Ighodalo. Yes, that's right beside him.
Is at his, award and polling unit, and is giving a briefing to the media to his view on what is happening. Can we quickly take a look at Saturday Telegraph while we're waiting for clearer images from Edo State?
Yeah, like you rightfully said, a lot of the papers today are focusing on the Edo governorship elections. The major headline there reads, respect processes, people's wills in Edo polls. Tinubu tells parties and supporters as 2.2 million voters determine Ighodalo, Okpebholo, Akpata, others' fate today. Election is a golden opportunity for INEC to redeem image, group tells Yakubu, and the CSO expresses concern over the security situation and likely vote buying in the state. Right beside that story there is NNPCL moves to revive $29.8 million brass OK's LNG projects. That's more of that on page 8.
That's a good thing for the NNPC
Definitely
to do, but what will be important will be for NNPC to stop playing the role of, as they say, a side chick, when you already have four. When you have 4, you can have 4 refineries and then subjecting yourself to becoming a mere distributor, to the Dangote refineries. Where are we? Fuel is still, very expensive, still scarce in many areas. I think that, like many Nigerians are saying, the NNPC will need to do a lot better than they are currently doing.
Well, they are stating that the Brass LNG and OK LNG are the 2 energy projects with the potential of manifold economic benefits for the country, which include job creation, revenue generation, and economic diversification. But we'll continue to monitor that story. Just under the headline there reads, how worsening economic conditions trigger mental health crisis. Specific pronouncement assessments can only be based on data, as according to Professor Gureje, conditions that predispose to mental health disorders on the increase, and hospital records suggest a steady rise, says Ume. Now that's something to be worried about, because we do know that our economic situation, we're in a very dire economic situation. So to know that that can trigger mental health directly really has me worried.
Okay. And from this coming from Dr. Ume, saying conditions that predispose to mental health disorders on the increase, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, and then hospital records suggest a steady rise. We should be very worried about this type of a thing, because when the argument about how people are suffering, how people are struggling to cope, people tend to say, oh, but when you go to the beaches, when you go to the nightclubs, you see a lot of people. I think that that's an unfair response from those who may be better off, and because what we are witnessing is that many people on a daily basis are slipping, further down in poverty, and not just that they are being poor, they are now on the edge of mental, instability. Definitely. That's an important thing to worry about as citizens, and especially as government.
All right, then. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Stebo. We're going back now, diving back into the Edo gubernatorial elections happening today. And joining me live from Yaro, her third location today, Christy McCauley. If you can just bring us up to speed. I can see there's a huge turnout of voters standing under the rain there. Can you bring us up to speed and let us know what's going on ground?
This is the Ministry of Education in Yaro. This is where we have the governorship candidate of the Labour Party. He's out here, he has voted, and we have large turnout of voters here. This ward is, this voting center has the highest, number of units. We have almost 30-something units, about 36 units in one particular place in Yaro. The candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Olumide Akpata, has just voted, and we are waiting to talk to him. In a short while, we are going to have him here. We are going to speak to him. But it's raining. The weather is not friendly at all. The people are still hanging in. They are still here. They want to participate. They want to cast their votes, and they are still waiting, despite the downpour.
What do you say, Christy, in terms of the turnout so far?
Okay.
In terms of the turnout so far, has it been impressive? Yes, the weather is not friendly, but in terms of turnout, voter turnout, are you impressed? What does it look like?
Yes. The turnout, we have appreciable number of persons here. The turnout is high. I told you we have about the highest number of polling units at this particular center. We have almost 36 polling units here. So it is expected that we're going to have this much of crowd.
All right. I wonder if there has been, rightfully, when we spoke to another correspondent, Charles, earlier, if there had been any complaints or observations about forms of electoral malpractice, or just affecting the general perception of fairness and transparency in the process. Making reference to the point that he made, where there were persons that had showed up at the polling unit who were not necessarily recognized by those in that environment. Have we had any similar situation there in Yaro or otherwise?
For now, everywhere is calm. No any reports of malpractice and all of that. But here in Yaro, if you're talking about malpractice, it's not going to be now. It is a common thing here. You have to wait till maybe much later. It happened in 2023. When it was about 2:30, 3 o'clock, there were gunshots here. So we don't know, maybe because of security presence here, maybe it will change. But normally in Edo, if you are familiar with the way people vote in Edo, you will know that if we are going to have any crisis, it's going to be far, maybe about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's always like that here.
Oh, okay, Christy, we're not expecting any crisis, and we're hoping that, the situation will be different this year. But what is important, actually, is that you said that the candidate of the Labour Party, Olumide Akpata, has cast his ballot. Where is he now, and at what point is he coming out to speak with the media, especially Arise TV. Are you able to get him to speak with us?
Yes, I will in a short while. We're going to get him to speak with us in a short while. You know how it is with journalists here.
But where did he disappear to after casting his ballot? Where is he now at the moment?
We are getting him. He's coming.
Okay.
He's walking towards me.
Okay.
He's walking towards me right now.
All right.
You can see him.
Okay.
He's walking towards me right now.
Yes.
He's walking towards me right now. Good day, sir.
Hi, Polly. Christine, come on for in.
No, okay. Let's.
Okay?
I'm fine. It's part of it. It's part of it. You have done what you are here to do. You have voted.
Yes.
You're satisfied? Are you impressed with the turnout of voters here?
Yeah, I'm impressed with, this is my polling unit, I'm very impressed. And the feedback I'm getting from around the country is that people are coming out. The rain will set us back a bit, but I'm sure once it subsides, the people will be here. So I'm quite impressed. The people are hungry for a change. And so this is it's symbolic. It just tells you that the people want to see, that things turn around in Edo State. So I'm very hopeful that those who are superintending over elections, those who are superintending over this process, will allow the will of the people prevail. Because the people have come out.
Yes.
And once you allow their will prevail, we have had a good day.
What about the exercise, the voting process? You liked it? Was it free, fast?
For me, it was fast. But you cannot use my experience to judge the process.
Yeah.
It went well for me, perfect, seamless. I hope that is the experience of every Edo voter. So I'm going to reach out and get the feedback to know whether or not this is how it has worked out for everybody. For me, everything went well. The machine worked perfectly, captured me. I got my ballot paper. I went into the booth. I thumbprinted where you would imagine I would thumbprint. And then I put it in the ballot box, and that was done. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, it was done. But is that the experience of every Edo voter? The jury is out on that. Time will tell.
So you are hopeful right now?
I am pumped, optimistic, Christian. We have this one. We've got this one. The Edo people will speak loud and clear today. The Edo people will speak loud and clear today.
Thank you very much. You just heard from the Labour Party governorship candidate for Edo 2024, Mr. Olumide Akpata. We are still here at the Ministry of Education in Yaro, where he has voted, and there are so many voters here too on ground, waiting to perform their own exercise.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Christy Macaulay. We appreciate you being on ground there covering the Edo governorship elections live. While the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Senator MDayolu speaks with Rise correspondent Charles Eruka. Let's hear from him.
Yes, it did take a while. Yes, so now that you finally cast your ballot, what exactly are your feelings about this exercise?
I feel very good. Edo is about to be liberated. INEC, they are on the right track. They are trying their best. And I believe they are going to improve more of this. Today is perfect, what I can see in my place. In other places, 1 or 2 persons have come to say things are okay, moving perfectly. So for now, there's no problem.
Now, okay, you've gotten the reports, but from your own personal experience, what would you say about the conduct of the polls itself? Usually there are always controversies and questions, but then in your opinion, how exactly do you feel about the conduct of today's exercise?
The conduct of today is very okay for me, perfect.
So as far as you're concerned, INEC has done a good job?
I know they are doing very well, very, very well.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You will guarantee that there will be peace among your supporters?
My supporters are happy. They are jubilating because a new dawn for Edo people. A new Edo is rising. That is it.